magic in the air. Wands roll around us, cast away our care. Friends in the hallways, adventures we find. Spells and enchantments, trouble on our mind. That's so wizards, oh, 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 oh. Life is a spell we know. We're casting joy and glow, oh, oh. That's a wizard show.
The year is 2020. It is the 2020 Hasbro Pulse Convention, where the then CEO proceeds to tell everybody there the plans for the future of the hobby of Dungeons and Dragons. Since that time, on almost a monthly basis, Wizards of the Coast has made it very clear what the plans for Dungeons and Dragons is going forward between 2020 and 2030. Since that convention, almost once a week, the OGGM has also made it very clear what Wizards of the Coast plans for Dungeons and Dragons War. It's not like they're lying. It's not like they're hiding them. They have been unbelievably, blatantly honest in their plans for Dungeons and Dragons. And yet, almost on a weekly basis, someone is surprised. Therefore, it is time to once again enter the OGGM Villian Arc, in which I defend Wizards of the Coast? And for a follow-up, I'm going to come in your house and replace all your furniture with exact duplicates. Hello, my lovelies. It is I, your favorite supervillain, the OGGM, coming to you from Site B with a brand new thing that we're going to be doing called the OGGM Villian Arc, or Hasbro is doing with Dungeons and Dragons exactly what they said they were going to do with Dungeons and Dragons. Why are you upset? It's not like it's a surprise. Oh no, Hasbro did something else really horrible with D&D. So we've got three things coming up that may or may not be questionable. Number one, in the oh no, Wizards of the Coast is doing exactly what they said they were going to do. Are they returning to the one campaign setting they said they'd never return to? You mean like when they said they'd never return to Ravenloft? Well, apparently Mackenzie and Company are releasing a brand new Unearthed Arcana, which features a lot of things that are very familiar to fans of Dark Sun. The one campaign that Wizards of the Coast said they would never return it to. In fact, Jeremy Crawford said himself that originally they were writing 5e with Dark Sun in mind, but Hasbro said no. You cannot ever do Dark Sun because of the racism, slavery, cannibalism, anti-corporate things. I mean, basically, it's a post-apocalypse world run by evil cults with no gods. It goes against everything that stands for Dungeons and Dragons and everything that stands for Wizards of the Coast. So they have repeatedly said this is the one we'll never go back to, because one of the main story points is slavery, cannibalism, gladiatorial fights, the gods are dead, it's post-apocalypse. But then they're re-releasing some of the skills and abilities and prestige classes, now called subclasses, for Dungeons and Dragons Dark, and they look very much like stuff from Dark Sun. So how does Wizards of the Coast go back to Dark Sun, the one they said they never did, but also ignore all the things that makes Dark Sun, i.e. cannibalism, halflings being evil, slavery, corruption, the gods are dead. I don't know how they do it. It seems like a total antithesis, but if the rumors are true, that's going to be next year's nostalgia bait. So how is Mackenzie and Company going to ruin Dark Sun? How do you tell Dark Sun without it being Dark Sun? But we don't know. We'll see. But oh no, Wizards of the Coast said they'd never do Dark Sun again, unless of course they thought they could make money off of it, or if they wanted to appease the non-existent fan base. But really, the reason why they're doing this is it's built to fail. And if Dark Sun 2025, 2026 does fail, Wizards of the Coast can then say, see, look, it failed. The old school doesn't support us. You didn't really want Dark Sun. Oh no, the new school doesn't want any of the things that Dark Sun represent. Dark Sun fails. If they release Dark Sun, they're releasing it to fail, to prove the point that it doesn't work. Because if they change everything, people are going to hate it. It'll just be a cut and paste fantasy post-apocalypse with none of the things that make Dark Sun distinct. Mackenzie can pee all over it and say, look, I'm the first canonically autistic person who invented Dark Sun, and I'm the first canonically artistic person to play a canonically autistic character in Dark Sun because I'm Mackenzie and I invented D&D. And everybody can go, I fucking hate you. This isn't Dark Sun. Screw you. And then Wizards can go, see, we told you Dark Sun doesn't work. And if they don't remove the questionable stuff, if they include the slavery and the cannibalism and all the other stuff that makes Dark Sun a not really D&D campaign setting, but an awesome post-apocalypse fantasy setting, but, and the new school turns against it and says, no, how dare you? There's slavery in it. There's racism in it. There's cannibalism. You made halflings evil. This isn't Dungeons and Dragons. We're not going to buy this. Then Wizards can go, aha, see, Dark Sun doesn't work. Well, here's somebody saying, well, the only way Dark Sun could work is as a hope punk. Evil OG GM would like you to know once again that there's no such fucking thing as hope punk. Stop using our word. So it's no win, which feels like the kind of thing a company that's trying to destroy the tabletop role-playing aspect of their corporation would do. Purposely set up D&D to fail? Well, but why would they do that? Unless, of course, they have repeatedly said they don't think D&D, the game, makes them money, so why continue to support it? Let's set it up to... There's no way we can lose. No matter what we do, this is going to fail. Therefore, we show you people, look, it's failing. Why should we continue to support it? It's more cost-effective for us to just have you do all the work, since anything you make for 5e inevitably becomes ours. So yes, dare they return to Dark Sun? Will it be Dark Sun as we know and love it? No, of course it won't be Dark Sun as we know and love it. They can't make it Dark Sun as they know and love it. So whatever it will be anesthetized, cleansed, duty-free, conflict-free Dark Sun built to fail. And speaking of Hasbro doing exactly what they said they were going to do in merchandising. Oh no! The final season of Stranger Things is coming out. So, oh no! Wizards of the Coast and Target are releasing some Stranger Things specific stuff for D&D that you can only get at Target that features a year-long story and a whole bunch of art and stuff from Hellfire Club, and it looks like the depiction of the adventure if it was written by the actual players for $25. Oh no, we don't think Dungeons and Dragons makes us money anymore as a game. Why don't we find new ways to merchandise it, because we know we can make money of that? Why don't we find a way to take advantage of Stranger Things before it fades away? Oh no, we're doing exactly what we said we're going to do. We will now wait a couple minutes for you all to be upset about us doing exactly what we told you we're going to do. Merchandising D&D. Oh no. Shame on you, Wizards of the Coast. Shame on you for doing exactly what you said you were going to do. Time and time again. If only somebody out there had warned you people that this was going to happen. Oh wait, I did. Constantly. So for $30, you can see this book written as if it was written by the characters who are playing through the D&D game in the show. So it's, hey, these actors who play these characters, Will and Eddie and whoever, And they had mentioned a D&D campaign in the very first episode, and occasionally it's mentioned again. And then when Eddie was introduced, they, more and more with the D&D campaign. So this is the D&D campaign as if it had actually been played, filled out, finished, So the campaign within the TV show, yeah, my head hurts too. But yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's goofy, Is it worth $30? Absolutely not. Are people going to pay $30 for it? Absolutely. Does this prove Wizards of the Coast theory if even one person buys it? Yes. Yes, it does. Dungeons and Dragons, the role-playing game, does not make us any money anymore, guys. This does. Oh no, Wizards of the Coast is doing exactly what they said they were going to do. Oh no, we're upset. And finally, in case you've been living under a rock and didn't know about this, why did Critical Role dump Daggerheart for D&D? Would it have anything to do with Wizards of the Coast lying and Critical Role lying about their relationship? Oh no. Turns out Darrington Press is a company whose goal is to make money. Oh no. Oh no. Now, at first, this one did surprise me. And a lot of people agree with me. Why dump Daggerheart for D&D? But they told you why. Money. It's money. And as more and more people smarter than me, like Professor Dungonmaster and Stephen Glicker, look at it, yeah. I mean, did they ever actually 100% say unequivocally on paper that campaign 4 was going to be Daggerheart? No, they did not. They insinuated that it was going to be Daggerheart. They built up this entire industry for 3 years for Daggerheart. It was the #1 selling role-playing game on the planet. It still is. Everybody and their dog has jumped to the Daggerheart bandwagon because they felt this was going to be the thing that takes us to the future, and it's guaranteed money. Every day I discover another new, well, I don't discover, Jeff's Gamebox sends me another link to another channel that is completely converted to Daggerheart, because Daggerheart is the star to sail by, much like Shadowdark was previously. Even people who you never thought would jump on the Daggerheart bandwagon jumped on the Daggerheart bandwagon. This was going to be the D&D killer. It literally is in the name, a dagger to the heart. So why go D&D? Why say fuck Daggerheart? Campaign 4 is going to be D&D. And why is it D&D? Well, it's your fault. Because Daggerheart is still a new game. It's not really tested. They've said that. It's not really ready. They've said that. We hired Perkins and Crawford to fix it up. Does that mean a new Daggerheart's coming out? But no, it's advertising. And, we have a group of players who have said, I'm not really prepared for Daggerheart. I don't really get Daggerheart. I don't think it works for what we want to play. We've got a DM who said, I'm not really prepared for Daggerheart. Daggerheart doesn't really work for me. I don't really understand it. For the type of game I want to run, Daggerheart doesn't work. And they claim the audience has said, well, we don't understand Daggerheart, but we know D&D. We love D&D. We love it when you do D&D. So could you just do another D&D at least to start? And Critical Role has said, hey, looks like we don't have enough faith in you, the audience, to do the game with Daggerheart. We're going to continue to do sporadic introduction to Daggerheart games. We'll continue Umbra. We've got some other people like Dungeon Daddies. That's a cringe name. Doing Daggerheart live plays. So throughout the year, we have other people play testing. Meanwhile, Crawford and Perkins, who we hired specifically to come over and fix Daggerheart, work on the future of Daggerheart, are doing just that. The 5th edition that we're playing for Campaign 4 is not going to be 5th edition as written. It's heavily modified, which means, yeah, we're starting with Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, but it isn't really Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. It's a modified version of 5th edition because, and this is the hypothesis with a lot of people agree with me, What if we're starting with D&D, they make the D&D money, to get the D&D advertising money, to show Wizards of the Coast, ha, we do D&D better than you. But then we slowly convert from Dungeons and Dragons, heavily modified, to Daggerheart 1.5. And what Perkins and Crawford and Mercer are working on now, so behind the scenes, is Daggerheart 1.5, because Daggerheart 1.0 doesn't work. Basically, what you guys bought and have been playing is the playtest version. There's going to be another version, and it's going to be the version that Campaign 4 ends up becoming. Hypothesis, I have no actual proof, but let's face it, that's what it looks like. Now, according to people in the know, like Professor Dungeonmaster, the amount of money each advertiser had to pay to run an ad during Critical Role time was pretty impressive. You know, they netted like $1 million plus, or something like that. 9 million, I think it was, you know, so they were doing okay. So yeah, even Campaign 3, which was getting horrible reviews and not doing as well as Campaign 2, was still making bank. So by the time Campaign 3 ended and they said they were going to take a break, yeah, you know, the D&D money was there. Meanwhile, on the planet Wizards of the Coast, in a galaxy known as Seattle, the secret conclave Legion of Doom said, fuck Critical Role, we don't need them. We're going to do our own live play universe based around the fallbacks. Everybody remember that? We're going to release a game on the fallbacks. We're going to release a book about the fallbacks. We're going to release a comic book about the fallbacks. We're going to release everything going forward about Dungeons and Dragons is going to be built around the fallbacks as our new iconic group of adventurers, so we can do live plays with this group of adventurers and replace Critical Role because we've lost them. They're going off to do Daggerheart and live plays and their stuff like that. They've ended their contracts with us, so we're going to make our own thing. And it's going to be as big as Critical Role. It's going to be better than Critical Role. It's going to be like Critical Role, but it's going to have hookers and moonshine and blackjack. Oh, wait. The fallbacks failed miserably. There's no interest in the fallbacks whatsoever. Meanwhile, Critical Role is making a lot of money with our product. What if we do what we said we were going to do, because we don't give a fuck about D&D, and we say, hey, Critical Role, why don't you take, I don't know, a truckload of money and do Campaign 4 using D&D instead of Daggerheart. I mean, you can still do your Daggerheart stuff. That way, you draw attention to Dungeons and Dragons for us. Good attention, because you're now the new main friar. We can just sort of forget the fallbacks as we forget everything else that doesn't work. You know, we'll blame it on Mackenzie. And tell you what, since that whole June 2027 D&D 6X thing is still floating out there, I don't know, maybe we see what you can do with Dungeons and Dragons heavily modified. So we're going to pay you to play some D&D so you can make tons of money off of advertising, so we can get our percentage of that advertising money. You sell D&D for us. We still make bank. You make bank. If everybody loves it, you can say, look, D&D 2025 is a good game. And we can say, hey, look, it works. But if it fails, well, that's Critical Role's fault. That's not our fault. That's you, the fans, again, telling us that you don't like D&D. Further proving that D&D the game doesn't make us any money. Look, we gave it to Critical Role because you guys love Critical Role. And oh no, it failed. It's like we won no matter what. There's no way we as Wizards of the Coast can lose this. Oh no. It's like we know what we're doing. It's like we're doing exactly what Hasbro said we were going to do in 2020. Killing the tabletop role-playing game aspect of Dungeons and Dragons because it doesn't make us any money. This will make us money. More importantly, any good press? Oh, look, Critical Role is doing good things with D&D. Yay, us. Or any bad press? Oh, look how badly Critical Role is treating D&D. Obviously, you guys don't really like it. Win-win. Win-win for Wizards, win-win for Critical Role. And then there's still the theory out there that it's going to start D&D modified and slowly convert to Daggerheart 1.5. Or what if Wizards of the Coast is going to just hand Dungeons and Dragons 6 over to Darrington Press, or buy Darrington Press up and say, look, just do it for us. Or just do the same thing with Dungeons and Dragons that they did with Power Rangers and G.I. Joe. Here, we're done with it. You do whatever you want with it. Dungeons and Dragons, the game, is yours. I mean, technically, it's anybody's, right? Because of the way the Creative Commons is written. As long as you don't use the stuff that is 100% specifically Wizards, you could make 5e stuff that's compatible with 2024 5e. We can't stop you because that's what the Creative Commons says. So here, take 2026, 2027 Dungeons and Dragons Critical Role and do whatever you want with it. Because even though we're not publishing it anymore, we're still going to make money off of it no matter what. And you can deal with all the toxicity, all the negative comments, all the hate that's going to come with Dungeons and Dragons 2027, if that's actually a thing. So if there actually is a D&D 6X and they hand it to Critical Role can do whatever they want with it. Wizards will still make money off of it. Hasbro will still make money off of it. And if there's any positivity or negativity, Hasbro can just go, nope, that's them. We have nothing to do with the negativity. We washed our hands on the role-playing game. Now, much like Power Rangers and G.I. Joe and Transformers, we still own every other aspect of it. We still own Dungeons and Dragons, the brand. You know, the brand that we have consistently said to you makes us the most money. And that we've consistently told you we're not going to support Dungeons and Dragons, the game, because we can't merchandise it. But you know, we can merchandise Dungeons and Dragons, the brand. So we start 2026 with Campaign 4 of Critical Role being heavily modified D&D. We look at the tail end of 2025 with everybody and their dog jumping on the Daggerheart bandwagon going, yeah, we love Daggerheart. And then Wizards of the Coast going, ha! Well, the fallbacks failed, so why don't we just backload a truckload of money to Darrington Press and have them do all the work? And then all those people who jumped on the Daggerheart bandwagon can be, oh, no, fuck you. Daggerheart didn't work. We just gave you all that money. What are we going to do now? I guess we're going back to playing D&D 5.0 because it's 2025, 2026, and you're playing D&D. And, you know, Darrington Press can go, here we are playing our heavily modified D&D, showing that we can do D&D better than Wizards of the Coast. We now own D&D. We dumped Daggerheart because we didn't have faith in you fans that you wouldn't understand it, and Daggerheart can't really do what we want it to do, and we don't have the wherewithal to change it, so we'd rather just modify D&D while we're working in the backgrounds to make the brand new Daggerheart. And, you know, Brandon Milligan's an idiot, so he couldn't handle Daggerheart. Now, I find it interesting that after all that, oh, we're going to use D&D because you guys don't understand Daggerheart, which is one of the many reasons they said. Brandon, they're saying, but the very first 4 campaign episodes, the very first 3 to 4 hour blocks is basically just going to be character creation and world building in a West March campaign. I don't think Brandon Lee Mulligan knows what West March means, because a 4-session game of backstories and character building in a West March is sort of antithetical to what West March is all about. It's, you know, West March is quick, fast characters who are going out and doing things, and if they die for going a direction they weren't supposed to go, oh well, it's a West March campaign. There's no overarching story. There's no overarching metaplot. It's just go out, explore, do stuff, or not do stuff. So I'm going to devote 4 episodes to telling you how this works. I don't know. Couldn't I have just used those 4 episodes to work together to learn Daggerheart together? And then, you know, by episode number 5, we all have a general understanding of, you know, because we all got to learn D&D 2025, right? It's different from D&D 2020. So yeah, we got to change it anyways. So part of the four episodes is going to be learning the differences between D&D 2025 and D&D 2014. So couldn't we have just done the same thing and spent those 4 episodes teaching you Daggerheart? So by the time we do episode 5, all my players know Daggerheart more or less. The DM knows Daggerheart more or less. And you, the fans, know Daggerheart more or less. How would that be any different than what we're doing now? I don't know, except we don't have the faith in Daggerheart. It's like it was built to fail. Who said that it felt like it was built to fail? Who said that it was actually just the tip of something larger that we hadn't seen yet? Oh, yeah, that was me. That was me. And who's been telling you week after week after week for the last 5 years what Hasbro's plans for Dungeons and Dragons War? Oh, yeah. It was me, Villian Arc OGGM. So as we go forward to the tail end of 2025, spiral into 2026, and postulate the future of Dungeons and Dragons, the game, D&D 2027 6X June, still floating out there. Will the OGGM Villian Arc still continue to be forced to defend Wizards of the Coast? Why did Critical Role give up on Daggerheart for D&D? What's Wizards of the Coast doing? Exactly what they said they're going to do. Building Dungeons and Dragons to fail. Letting other people run with Dungeons and Dragons and do the work with Dungeons and Dragons so they don't have to. They reap the reward no matter what. And if it's positive, tail end positive, they can go, hey, we were successful. Buy more toys. And if it's a failure, they can go, hey, look, they failed, proving D&D doesn't work. Buy more toys. Either way, we're going to continue to brand D&D and make new D&D cartoons and television shows and books and comic books. And if it's the fallbacks, great. If it's not the fallbacks, great. We've got that Critical Role money coming in again for at least another year. No matter what, we win. No matter what, we're doing exactly what we told you we were going to do. Oh, no. It's as if
Mischief in the classroom, potions gone astray. Flying through the quad, now brighter every day. Laughter we cry hard, sneaking out at night. Cloaks in the moonlight, everything feels right. That's so Wizards, oh,